two lines we have written saying like, yes, when we create the XML, the rule of the first rule of the XML is in every XML document, one parent element will be there, and that parent element can be any tag. It's your wish. You can write user defined tag. After that, we saw in this file saying like there can be multiple child element. Okay, but the child element cannot be by the different name, because while running the loop you will face the problem. So the child element object name should be same, tag name should be same, and the child can have n number of child, there is no problem at all, and it can be a nested child also. In the mobile number also we can add the primary mobile number and secondary mobile number. Okay, that way also we can do, but will not go to that level. It may lead you to the confusion level. Okay, so remember, in XML file there can be, every XML file will have a parent element, and that parent element can be user defined tag, and it is case sensitive, and it can have n number of child level element, and whatever the child level tag you are going to create, it's all are user defined tag, nothing else. So three rule come from the XML. We will count on the finger. Rule number one, XML, all the tags are user defined. XML, every XML file will have a parent tag, and XML is a case sensitive. Three things, right? Then the JSX, what we are going to study, in the JSX also we have to include the rule of the XML, and after including the rule of the XML, we will be making a note of what are the rule of the JSX. Okay, so come down below, write the rules of JSX. Rules of JSX. The rule number one. Okay, rule number one. What
so
is
you
that?
shared a video one?
Huh?
You shared a video number one?
Yeah, video, yesterday video.
No, you write a name of video one.
React video one. It is.
It is the video one. That means you can, it's a React video one. You can change the name. I store the video on video 2, video 3. Look at here. This is a Reactjs folder. So under the Reactjs folder, what video will come? React video will come. This is JavaScript folder. So inside the JavaScript, I have JavaScript video 1 to 20. Now under the React, whichever I will store, that will be as a which video? React video. It is of yesterday. Okay, come down. Rule number, what it says like, if in a component, okay, again here component word we need to understand what is that meaning of component. Okay, let me write here first. Okay, since we are as of now new, we have not got much experience, we have not got much idea in the React. So we can write the definition of XML in the simple line, and after moving forward, after 2-3 classes, once we start creating the component, that time we will change a little definition. Okay, so here under the React, you have a word called component. Component. What is the meaning of the component? Okay, definition on internet also we will come to the same point, but at this moment our definition will be little different. What we'll write in Reactjs, all the JavaScript files, all .js file, in Reactjs, all the .js file, is called as component. Yesterday, if you remember, you have done modification on app.js file, correct? So app.js file is called as what? Component. It is a JS file, right? Inside the JS file, we have written a function. Then you will ask, the function is a component or file is a component. So at this moment, if you discuss on that level, it will lead you to the confusion level. So better keep in mind as of now, in Reactjs, whenever we are going to create a component, it is nothing but a JavaScript file. Okay. So according to what we are going to implement, I made a definition in Reactjs, whichever the .js file we are going to create, it can be parent component or it can be child component. All are going to call it a component. Okay. Now, one more word will be there that will come in definition. That is called JSX element. JSX element. So at first line, when we have written the JSX. In that JSX, what we have written, JSX equal to, it will be HTML plus JavaScript plus what? Rule of the XML. So in HTML, what you will find? In HTML, you will find the normally HTML tags, right? So at this place, I am going to write JSX element, meaning is what? When we study the JavaScript, that time we'll say, okay, all the HTML tags are called as element in JavaScript. Inside the array, whichever the values are there, that is called as element in JavaScript, right? So we can say now HTML is going to mix with the JavaScript. So inside the HTML, whichever the tags we are going to create, that will be called as a JSX element. For example, suppose we have written a user list tag here. So in the term of React, you can say user list is a JSX element. We have written here called user tag. So in the term of React, we can say user is a JSX element because it is going to be a JSX, JavaScript and XML. And inside whichever the tags will come, all will be called as a element. So that we are writing here JSX element. JSX element meaning is what we can write here. In the React.js, all the user defined tags plus predefined tags will be called as a what? JSX element. For example, yesterday you have written paragraph, you have written the division, you have written the H1. So division is a JSX element, paragraph is a JSX element. We have written hello also. So hello is also a JSX element, right? So we can say in React.js, all the user defined tags plus predefined tags will be called as a JSX element. These two words I am going to include under the definition. Because of that, I have clearly written on the top, when we write the component, that what is the meaning of that? Component will point to a JavaScript file. Element, JSX element, when we write that will point to a HTML tags or HTML tags. Okay, so JSX. Now you can write here rule number one. Rule number one. What that says rule number one? It says like in a component, I will start from if better. If in a component, only one JSX element is required. REQUIRED. If in a component only one JSX element is required, then the parent JSX element is optional. Example, yesterday we have seen, I have written only H1, it was working. Now H1 you can keep inside the division, then also it will work. So this line is pointing to the same, but this rule is not much helpful for you because in one component you cannot write only one tag. We will be writing the multiple tags, right? Let me write here for an example. Okay, I will open that file also. Hold on. This we have one app.js file. We have here under the project folder. You have app.js file. So see here, what is that says here? If you see division open close, so division become as a JSX element. H1 is open close, so become as a JSX element. Paragraph open close, so become as a JSX element. Now our rule number first says, suppose in a component you need only one JSX element. Like suppose we need only H1. Then if you put inside the division, then also it will work. And if you keep without division, then also it will work. Okay, so that's what it is trying to say under the definition. In one component, if only one element is required, then you can keep inside the parent, then also is okay. If you are not keeping inside the parent, then also okay. That is the meaning of this. Okay, so for that, I will take this line and I will add here under the developer guide. This is also okay. And this is also okay. Or or only H1 is also okay. Only H1 is also okay. Something like this. Right? So hope this point is clear. So, this line, what I have written. If in a component only one JSX element is required, then
So there is spelling mistake in GSX.
JSX where? JSX, yes, JSX. If in a component only one JSX element is required, then the parent JSX element is optional. For example, we can write example H1 you keep inside the division, then also okay, and H1 you can write without division, then also okay. So that is simple. Let's come to the rule number 2. What it says? Rule number 2, it says, right? Again, I'm going to write here, if in a component more than one JSX element is required, then the parent JSX element is compulsory. Then parent JSX element is mandatory. Example, suppose this line if I copy and place here and write here one more division, maybe one paragraph. Hello. From P. Correct. If I write one more here, maybe label tag, I can write here, close the label tag. So you can see how many element we added. More than one element we added. So this more than one element, we cannot live without parent. JSX will say you are not following the rule and it will throw the error. So hope you are writing. Please add. I will share you this in your chat also. Rule number 2.
Sir, can you please share rule number 1 as well?
I was expecting the same. See, I am writing now also. I have written previous also. In my system, there will be 80 plus GB project. 80 plus, not 80, 200 plus GB space, but all are occupied with the React and Angular project. I have written 500 plus times. Still I am writing. Why? Because if I will write, you will write. But if I am writing, you are not writing, no meaning. So better you write it. If you write no, while writing itself, you will remember it. Okay, I sent you in the chat. Keep following.
Sir, for making sir, we are going to see React project also, or we have to pay some more amount for doing project. Sir, I'm asking that we are going to see React project also. We are going to do that also, right?
Weekend, Monday to Friday, you will have syllabus. And once the syllabus will get end, then on Saturday, Sunday, we'll sit for project.
Okay, sir.
It is a free of cost.
But in project class, I add some more people. I have regular classes also. So in the project,
Sir, for that we have to pay some amount for that.
No, it is free.
नहीं यार, अमाउंट लेना रहता तो भाई आप जितना दिए हो उतना में कब का हम समाप्त कर दिए रहते सिलेबस। मेरा अमाउंट लेने का टारगेट नहीं है, आपको पढ़ा के
Okay, sir.
बनाने का टारगेट है, समझे कि नहीं?
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
Sir,
Thank you, sir.
there is a very less people are like you, sir.
जैसे अभी मेरे in my network now multi-thousand people are there. Okay, those are working in the market, not thousand, multi-thousand I'm talking. Okay. So in that case, there is the people from the zero level experience to 15-year experience. Okay, all level of people are there. So my intention is, see, I'm earning the money, there is no doubt. If I work in some company, compared to that, Info Campus pay me five times more than that. Okay, not more than 5 times, 10 times more. But question is again, after taking the money, if I'm not returning you double of the money in the term of knowledge, then it will not be digestible. Understood or not? Suppose you are paying some amount for keeping in mind, no, I will pay this much money. After that, I'll gain this much knowledge. I will plan this. I will get this job. This will happen. This will happen. So many plans you have, right? Now, because of one customization from my side, if I do a small customization, your entire plan will break down, right? So who will be responsible for that? Indirectly, not you, myself only, right? Tomorrow, suppose today you learn, you go in the market, you will start working. Tomorrow, automatically, you will start sending many people to me, right? So that is like, it is kind of a commitment. No, I have left my royal job from the Cisco System India Private Limited. Okay, there they were giving a lot of salary plus a relaxed life, nothing tension. But now from morning 8 o'clock to night 9 o'clock, I speak continuous. I have continuous classes from 6:30 to 7:30. 1 hour there is a break. Else continuous classes are there. Still, how much energy I spend in the morning, first batch, more than double energy I spend in the evening. People should not feel like he is energyless, right? Commitment is there. Now, after learning, you should be able to deliver something. You should reach your target. Okay, that is the plan. Not like see something here, there, and finish the task and go home. Name will be spoiled. Plus tomorrow, your entire dependency will be better. Okay, leave that. That is the next part. Okay, hope we have written. Let's come down.
Yes, sir. Sir, we will cover ES6 also.
ES6 already have gone through, yeah. That map function, for each function, fat arrow
Okay.
method. Those are what? ES5, 6.
Sir, rest and spread operator.
Spread operator, I will be teaching you in the React.
Okay, okay, sir.
Fetch function you have seen, right?
Yes.
Fetch is the API only. RESTful
Yeah.
API once. See, now you cannot write the secure backend because you are only a front-end developer.
Yes.
Once you work with the backend developer, like suppose you are working on the project, there your data will come from the backend. Backend is in Java, Python somewhere, okay, and the data is secure data. That time, the way of calling the fetch function remains same. Just you have to set some header. You have to pass some more parameters.
Yes.
Okay, then it will become a API. Now we have learned API. To make it a RESTful API, while calling API, we need to authenticate it. We need to pass username, password, or header authentication. Many processes are there. Okay, so for that, you don't need to worry. Once you come to the industry and once you work on the actual project that you are going to deliver to the client, there automatically you will get to know what is the REST API. API, I will teach you A to Z, how to create and how to use all end to end. But that authentication part also I'll teach you, but not those exactly that you are going to write with the Java project. That guidance will come from the Java background people. Okay, they will guide you what I am sending and what you will receive, what you will send and what I will receive. Okay, but you will be useful, don't worry. Okay, let's come.
Okay.
Write the rule number. Rule number 1 you have written. In the rule number 1.2 we have, okay, or maybe we can write rule number 3 directly. We can copy this and we can paste here, okay, and we can make a note like rule number 3 saying like, if in a component more than one JSX element is required, then the parent JSX element can be user defined also, can be user defined also. Parent JSX element can be user defined also. Parent JSX element can be user defined also. If in a component more than one JSX element is required, then the parent JSX element can be user defined also. For example, you open the ABC and you close the ABC, right? So it's represent, we can use the predefined also as a parent and we can use as a user defined also as a parent, right? So no any difficulties in this. So come down. come down, right? You can say, okay, so let's add this. Then I'll write that number 3. What is that? Okay, I'll share you in the chat and take it. Rule number 4 says, let me add here. Rule number 4 says, if in a component more than one JSX element is required, then the JSX element, then rule number 3, if not 3, 4, it says like in a component more than one JSX element is required, then the parent JSX element can be empty tag also. Right here, empty tag also. Then empty tag also. The JSX element can be empty tag also. If in a component more than one JSX element is required, then the parent JSX element can be empty tag also. For example, you open the empty here and close the empty here. Then you will ask in which scenario we are going to follow this. Then suppose you have used multiple division, multiple section, multiple tags you have used, and somewhere due to you can say CSS conflict, your page is getting break, and you have to follow the JSX rule also, and you need to apply the CSS also, and CSS is getting break because of division and paragraph or maybe section tag. So in that case, what will follow? We will apply the empty tag. For this, any CSS will not apply. It will follow the JSX rule and your page will work. Okay, come back. Then they will ask, if I am following the ABC and ABC, why can't I follow the ABC directly? Why I am following the empty tag? Now suppose if you use the ABC tag, then once your compiler will read this file, compiler will look into the dictionary. Browser compiler will look into the dictionary saying like ABC is the tag, maybe ABC has some property. Correct. So for ABC, what they will do? They will look into the dictionary, and after searching in entire dictionary, the compiler will come to know ABC user defined, it has no any property. But by then it will take some time, maybe half millisecond, 0.5 millisecond, anything it will take, but it will take time. That will make a delay of execution. So empty tag says like, if you have no any kind of look and feel, if everything is well and something you have written in such a way where there is no need of the CSS, then instead of following the user defined tag or predefined tag, directly use the empty tag. So your compiler will understand, yes, it is following the rule, and for that tag will be empty tag. The compiler will not look into the dictionary or any kind of property. Page execution will be fast. Okay. Last we have one more, that is called array based. Array bracket symbol, but that is a complex. Okay, so out of this you have written how many rules? Rule number first, you can leave in mind if you are following this also will not following, because in one file there will not be only one tag, there will be multiple tags. So more useful are rule number 2, more useful are rule number 3, and more useful are rule number 4. So 2, 3, 4 are more useful. First and last may you can use or may not, but you can make a note. Rule number 5. If in a component more than one JSX element is required, then if in a component more than one JSX element required, then the parent JSX element can be array also. But in the note you can write, after every element, comma is required, and the last comma is optional. When we create the array, what we follow? We create the comma, last comma, we ignore it. So for example, if you are writing like this, suppose I will copy this statement and I will paste here. Inside this, if I write here something like this, square bracket open and a square bracket close, then under this square bracket, how many elements we found? We found as a 1 and we found as a 2, we found as a 3. But the third element says like, after me, there is no one, so no need to give the comma, right? But this last method, fifth method, what you have, it will make your programming complex. Okay, due to comma, if by mistake also comma will missed out somewhere, your page compilation will be fail, right? So best method is rule number 2, rule number 3, and rule number 4. For interview purpose, you can write it. If anyone asks what is the JSX non-stop, you can say 5 rules, and then you can say in that rule number 2, 3, and 4 are more useful and something like that. Okay.
Sir, fragment is also there.
Fragment is that only call is your parent tag. Fragment is also going to call as a parent tag only. Written. People use react.fragment. Okay. People use react.fragment, but that is the old syntax. React.fragment you can use, but it's old syntax. That is not new syntax. So at the place of fragment, you can use your whichever the tag you are following. Suppose you are creating the tr dynamically. So instead of writing the fragment, you can write the tr. You can write as a which one? Empty tag also. But empty tag if you are writing inside, you cannot add the td. It is completely out of the rule. Okay. So fragment point you can remove from mind and just follow the user defined tag or predefined tag. That is the best solution. Okay. Let's go next now. Rule number 3, that only ABC. User defined tag also here. Empty tag, when you write the empty tag, this is also following the JSX rule. Okay, here the empty tag is also following the JSX rule, but inside we have not mentioned any name. Correct. If you will not mention any name, that meaning your browser will be free. Browser will not look into the dictionary whether any properties exist for the tag or not. Suppose I will write here called div. Then inside the division, how many properties we have? Division have the property height, width, align, and so many are there, right? Now that height, width, and align will come from where? It comes from the dictionary. Every browser have dictionary. When we update the browser, what will happen? Dictionary will keep updating, right? So when we write code and compile and run the page in the browser, output will come. How the HTML H1 will work, how H2 will work, because these all are loaded under the browser dictionary. If you compare, if you download the today today, if you download the Chrome version and 5 years before you have downloaded the Chrome version, compare both, size will be different. Reason is what? 5 years before, whichever the Chrome was there, in their dictionary there was a limited, you can say elements, limited data was there. But today Chrome, what you are going to download, in their dictionary there is a lot of new technology, properties are populated, properties are added. So definitely the weight of the today Chrome will be heavier than 5 years before. So like when we run the page, when we write this division, right, division, how it will execute? Your compiler will come to this line, compiler will look in the dictionary, what is the meaning of the division? Then compiler will understand, oh, the div is the predefined tag. As soon as they'll find, yes, it is available under the predefined tag, then immediately it will look into the property list also. Okay, if any property is applied here, the compiler has to bring the property from the dictionary and apply for the element. If property is not applied, then compiler will not apply any kind of property. In the case of what? Division. Division was there, because of that compiler is searching for the property. If division will not be here, then what it will search? There is no any tags. The compiler will flow is an empty tag. No need to look into the dictionary. Just execute fast. Correct. So the compared to ABC and division, the empty tag execution will be fast, but it is going to work like a parent element. Okay. Hope clear, Bhanu Prasad sir. In code wise, when we are going to write the code, there we will see how it is going to work. Okay, suppose when we read, see, take the example of day-to-day life. When you read the newspaper, it is not necessary all the words are available in our mind. Correct. Some words will be there, difficult word. So what we do? We look the first word and we look remaining words and we'll compare. We'll make a something and we'll understand, oh, this is trying to say something like this. But suppose 3-4 words are there and all 4 words are unknown for you. So option number 1, either you have to look into the dictionary and find out the meaning and then read that line. Option number 2, skip that. Browser also do the same. If there is a element is added and the element is available under the dictionary, the element property will get applied. If the element is not there, browser will skip the line. And then we will say this element is not working in the browser. This tag will not work in the particular browser. We have input type equal to number. For that, if we write the max length, it will not apply. Reason is what? It is not available in the browser dictionary. Browser will look into the dictionary. Max length for the input type equal to number, but property itself is not there. It will not apply. Similar way, when we write any new tag and if it is not available in the dictionary, browser will skip it, or browser will feel free. No need to think anything on that. No need to spend extra time. Okay. Okay. Come to our next. So this JSX is ready. Plus one line definition is saying what is the meaning of React component. Okay. So let's come down below in the last. We will write 1 or 2 component we create and we will, but before writing the component, we need to understand the flow of the React. Okay. So let's come to our project folder now. So definitely theory writing, let it be here. Come to your project folder. Go to your project folder that you have project 1. Open the CMD in that. So hope everyone have the project folder. Either through CMD or any medium you go and just do here npm start. npm start. npm start will now compile the components, predefined component and user defined components, library, and everything compilation will start. npm start you should do under the project folders. Okay, npm start should not be out of the project folder. It must be within the project folder.
Now we are running this through local path, right? Real time, how the project will run?
This will not be, project will not work like that. After developing the project, we have to generate the build for that. I will guide you after 4-5 classes. Once we create some pages, I will guide you how to create the build. Build will be ready. Once the build is ready, this what you have set up, it is the development environment. It is not production environment. So for the for the development environment, we have to compile every time. Compile, and after compiling internally, it will generate the compiled file, and that compiled file will give you the output. But if you want to run your project always on the server, then that is a different process. I will guide you after few classes once some pages are ready, how to create the build and how to run that. Then you will understand the difference between development environment and production environment. In development environment, how much will be the code, and in the production environment, how much will be the code. Okay, finally, as of now, our file will be under the GB. But once we create a build of that, it will come under the KB. Final product will be under the KB, but the development environment is under the GB. Correct. So product will be as a just like as a JavaScript file and HTML file. One HTML remaining JavaScript and CSS. We can't modify that. It will be minified file. All the lines of the code will be single line. In one file, there will be only one line. Okay. HTML and one line JavaScript and one line CSS. That's all. Entire project will get finished. And from there only content will come. Minified file. Let's call it a compiled file. Okay. So check once your compilation is done. npm start you do.
Working, sir.
Compiled.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If it open in the browser directly, then okay. In case compile successfully happen and browser has not opened automatically, you need to go to the browser and you need to give the local host that 3000 port number. Port number we have option, we can change the port number. This is the by default port number 3000. We can change the port number while compiling itself. We have to, there is a two way, either we need to go to the file config file and give the port number, or we need to at runtime we can change the port number. Okay. Check now. Hope hello is coming and your page is compiled successfully. Now this project you should load under the Visual Studio also. See this, the CMD is running now. This CMD is your live server. Okay. If the live server will get a stop, your project will get a stop. You cannot see anything. So this CMD, we should not touch it. Assume like server started and minimize it forever till your project server will be on, your project will keep running. Okay. Once the server will get a stop or CMD will get closed, server will stop and your compilation will get stopped. Okay. You cannot run the page. So whenever we want to run the React project, first compile to npm start, keep writing the code and let it keep compile and run. If error will come, it will show where is the error. We are going to work on that. Okay. Next, in the project folder, we can open the, again, which one? VS Code. So how many ways we have? Two methods we have. First method might be you are aware of. Let me open the VS Code directly. Okay. VS Code is already open? Yes. Okay, no problem. I have not opened, so I am following. Let me open the VS Code. Compass.
Also, we can use this VS Code terminal.
You can use, but double load will be for the VS Code. If you compile under the VS Code, two work will happen together. Number one, you will write the code there only. Again, you will do the compilation there only. So there will be double load for the VS Code. It may be slow. JS6 hybrid, if a square bracket, then last comma is not required. If I do save it, also reload. Last comma is optional. This is optional means you can leave also, you can add also. In array also we have last comma optional. We can leave also, we can give also. But in the JSON, last comma is not optional. In the JSON, if we give last comma, it will get break. Okay, let's go ahead then. Now what we did is we have okay, let me open my project folder here. So you have open your project folder or how you are following. See, to open the project folder, you can open the Visual Studio, go to the file, and there is option called open folder. From open folder, we can go and we can select the project folder. Suppose I have folder here called React. Under the React, I have project one. I will select it. So that project folder will load here directly. This is one option. Another option, through code dot also we can open. Code dot open may not work in all the computer, but this method will work in all the system. Go to the file, select open folder, and after selecting the open folder, go to your project folder and select the project one or two, whichever you have. Just click on select folder, it will get open easily. Okay, so next task is this project is loaded. Okay, after that, let's look at here. You have the app.js file. Inside the app.js file, we have written the code and it is working in the browser. Something we wrote, it is happening. Okay, we need to understand next before creating a new component. Since app.js is a default component, now before creating a new component, we need to understand the flow inside. How to create the file, how to create that we are going to, where to create the file, and how to link, and how to load, and where it will load, and how it come in the browser. That is the major flow we need to understand. After that, once you create the next component, I will be doing mistake and you will be writing correctly. Okay, so let me go ahead and just understand that flow properly. Okay, I will open my pen. This one I will minimize for some time. Huh? No, just you see that later at last you can take the photo. Just you see that at last you can take the photo, a screenshot in your system, and you can keep in mobile. It will be helpful for you. If anyone is asking, guide me. What is the flow of the React? What is the internal structure? You can guide them this way. Okay. So let me go here and assume you are as a user. You are as a user here, and you want to open a website. You want to open a web application. That web application is developed using the React. So how that concept comes inside. So suppose a user, he mostly, whether you open the mobile or open the laptop, you will go to the browser, and under the browser, what we'll do is under the browser, we will give a URL. So this becomes a user, and user open the laptop, and inside the laptop, he open the browser. And after opening the browser, what he will do? Inside the browser, he will write a URL. That URL is going to interact with one project. That project has a concept of front end and back end. Okay, that project has a concept of front end and back end. So I have made two photos. One photo is saying this is the front end area. This is called, let me write here, this is called UI master.in. This is our website only. I will write our website name, so there should not be any conflict. And this is called global let's.in. Okay, assume this is as a front end technology. Front end technology as React, and this is as a back end technology. Backend technology, it can be based on Java as a background, maybe Python as a background, or maybe you can say PHP as a background, and maybe you can say Node.js as a background. Okay, so PHP, Node.js I am aware of, Python, Java I am not aware of, just I have written as a backend technology. I believe how we follow the Node.js and PHP, similar it within the Java, Python also, maybe little changes. So first understand the front end. Your front end technology is based on React. Now, when you look into the React project, inside the React project, you will have a public folder. Okay, inside your React folder, you have a public folder. If you want to verify, you can go and have a look. The folder name is called public. Under the public folder, we have a file called index.html. Reason is what? Browser is not going to deal directly with the JavaScript. Okay, browser will deal with the HTML. HTML file may bring the data from JavaScript or jQuery or React or wherever, that is the next matter. So you can say our browser is going to send the request to where? HTML file, and the HTML file will give the response to whom? JavaScript file. So that I made as a two-way communication, sending the request and getting the response, filling the form and clicking on submit button and getting the message, data saved successfully. Okay, next after that, you have a folder here that I'll make as a round folder. Node modules. Inside the node modules, what we have called library. Inside the node modules, we have a library. All the library, whichever the library is required to develop a project, all are inside the node modules. Okay, let's go ahead now. So this becomes a library and this becomes a public folder. Let's look here. If you look into the project folder, you have a node modules and you have a public folder. How many? Node modules and public folder. So under the node module, what is inside? Under the node modules, we have a list of library. Under the public folder, we have a file called index.html. Clear? The user will open a browser. This browser is going to deal with a HTML file.
HTML.
Where is that? That is available under the public folder. Right? After that, node modules is here. Yeah. Look at here. There is a folder called node modules, right? It's a libraries. All libraries are here only. In which folder? Node modules folder. Come next. After that, next what we have? We have a SRC folder. Okay, we have a SRC folder. So assume this is the node modules and this is the public folder. Remaining all are as a SRC folder. Look at here. Node modules, public folder, and remaining all are as a SRC folder. Remaining all area as a SRC folder. If you want, I can make here one separate block for this also. Okay. Let's keep like this. This becomes a SRC folder. Now this SRC folder, in SRC folder, we have lot of codes, we have lot of files, everything is the SRC folder. Okay. Now inside the node modules, whichever the libraries are available, all the library can deal with the node modules. Whichever the library we have exist under the node modules, all the library can be called inside the where? All the library we can use under the SRC folder. Okay. In SRC may be particular file, but whichever the file, all the files have a right to call the node modules libraries. Okay, maybe from library there is a 20,000 library, maybe you call only one, maybe you call 10, maybe you call 20, but you can call that. Okay, now next, inside src, what you have the existing structure. Under the src you have a file there called index.js. Index.js, let me use a small key. Index.js, it is where, under which folder? src folder. Let me keep under a box also, so it will be clear. This is called index.js file. So as of now, what is happening? Your index.js file is communicating this way. This way. Just a rough photo. Look at there. Now, browser interaction will happen to index.html. Index.html will get the data from index.js. Now, under index.js, the code level we are going to see. What is that code? That will understand. But index.js is able to send the data to index.html, and index.html will be communicating with the browser. It may be in the term of sending the data or maybe receiving the data. Now, next question, this index.js will get the data from where? That is the next level. We are going to write it. We have already one file we have here called app.js file. That file you have modified today and yesterday. You have a file here called app.js file. App.js file. Now this app.js file can get a request from the via index.js file, and the app.js file can send the response to index.js file. So see the flow. App, you have written the code yesterday. That code output was coming in the browser. Today also, if you modify, output will come in the browser. We have modified under the app file only. We don't have any other file. So from app, your content will go to the index, and from index it will go to the index.html, and from index.html it will keep giving to whom? Browser. Okay, this is the default structure what you have as of now. Okay, this is the default structure what we have as of now. You can see here. Node modules, public folder, src folder. Under the src folder, we have one index.js and we have one app.js. Now let me show you what is under the app.js. Under the app.js, you have a function. Function name is called app, and we are saying export. Means anyone can use it. Which function? App function. Default is written here. The meaning of default is in one file. What is the file name? App.js. We have written app function. There can be multiple function also. In one file, there can be app function. There can be one more function. There can be one more function. So it says like the default keyword says like in one file, suppose you have 20 function, but which is the main function? Suppose in this we have one app function, and suppose we have one more called user function. We have one more called customer function. We have one more called product function. But out of that, which one is the leading function? Which is the main function? App. So those function that is the main function will be called as a default. The meaning of default, people ask in interview, why we write as a default? You can say export, meaning I am going to import somewhere. Then they'll say, why you writing as a default? Then we can say in one file, in one JS file, we can write multiple function also. We can write multiple classes also. But out of multiple function and multiple classes, which is my leading function, that function will be called as a default. And this is compulsory, you have to write it. Without this, React will not compile your page. React wanted to know out of this component, multiple files you may have, or one file you may have, one function or maybe multiple function, out of that, which is the main function. You have to keep it a default, then only it will execute.
Function name should be app only, sir, or
any name, yeah, any name. It's not only app. It can be any name. Okay, now come, I'll guide you. App is written here where it is calling. So our photo, what is explained? Our photo says like under the app, whatever you have written, it will go to the index.js file. Let me go to the index.js file now. You can also see in your code, one line will be written like this. one line will be written like this. Some extra will be there. Let me remove this. Extra, whichever the comments are there, you can remove all. Okay, let's keep your code clean. You may have little different syntax here. I have modified just to convince you. Okay, look at here. Import app. So what is the app? It is the file name or function name.
File name.
That's what we wanted to clear. If I write here app.js, then what you will understand? Import app is the function name and where it is written under the
App.js.
Okay. So the syntax is import function name from file name. Let me write here. Import function name from file name. Okay. And dot slash is what? Because in the current folder. See here. Dot slash meaning is what? That slash represent the current folder. So because app is also in the same folder, src also index is also in the same folder. So we have written import a function. That function name is app and where it is available under the app.js file. Okay. Now below at this place you may have different syntax. In the people who have downloaded, they have syntax different. Even my one is also same, but I have modified little. Okay. Now look there. Render function react.dom. It's a, you can say, library of a React. Now render function, what is the use of that? A render function used to print the output. A render function, yeah, in the React, render function is a class component or without class component. A render function used to print the output. Now inside the render function, it is passing two parameters. You can look at here. The first parameter is, what is the app here? Function. App is a function name. And what is this? We have seen in JavaScript somewhere, document.getElementById, particular id.inner HTML, right? So see, a render function needs two parameters. The first parameter is the location. Sorry, first parameter is the content and second parameter is the location. First parameter is the content and second parameter is the location. You can say first parameter is the data and second parameter is the location. So what is under the app function? App is the function here. App is the function name here. What is under the app function? Look at here. Go to the app.js. In app function, what is coming? What it will return? It will return division and h1, right? It will return division and h1. Now when I go here under the index.js file, you have imported the app from app.js. Now inside the app function, what you have? Division open close and h1 is written. So at this place, suppose if I cut everything and if I write here h1 call hi. Now what is the meaning of that? Hi become as a content. Hi become as a tag. Sorry, h1 become as a tag and hi become as a content. So this become as a content and this become as a location, right? Let me save this file now. So you in the browser whether it is printing or not. I come to the browser, I reload it. Hi is coming. Yes or no? Hi is coming, right? So look at here. The render function needs two parameters. The first parameter is a content and second parameter is the location. So what is the location? Location is called root. There will be one division. The division ID is root. Inside the division, it is sending h1 as a content. So you can write normally document.getElementById root.innerHTML equal to h1. We have written in JavaScript. Now same thing is happening through the function. So first parameter is the content and second parameter is the location. But question is, where is the root? Where is the root? Look at the photo.
Index.html.
App.js has sent the h1. App.js has sent some content to index.js. Now index.js is sending the content to root. Look at index.js where it's talking. It's talking to the app index.html file. In which folder? Public folder. Let me go here. Look at the public folder. You have a file index.html. If I go to the index.html, you will find a division ID equal to root. Now let's find count on the finger. Inside the index.js file, we have written first parameter as a h1 and second parameter as a root. Second parameter what is written? Document.getElement by id root. And in the root, what is sending? H1. Look at here. In the root, what is sending? H1. Now same H1 is displaying here in the browser, right? So you are not going to write a single line. Your project will have thousands line, correct? So how the 1,000 line will execute? We should not write here the H1. What we should do? We should call here the function. Which function? App function. It is just like the HTML tag. JavaScript function was different. You are not in the JavaScript, you are under the JSX. So this is as a JSX. If I move my mouse here, see here, saying as a function as a JSX element. So what is that? App is the name of the function. This function is bringing the data from which file? App.js file. And where it is printing? Under the root. In which file? Index.html. In which folder? Public folder. So this flow you see, app.js will send some content to index.js. Index.js is sending some content to index.html, and index.html is given to a browser. Flow is clear or not clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, I have one question.
Right. I have one question, right? See, is there that root is there under public folder, okay? And the public and index.html, this one. But this no, index.js file, this one, just to here we mentioned that app and document.getElement by root. But here there is no reference that where
Indirectly, one file is there, package.json. Okay, I will guide you that file. In package.json, it will be explained where the file has to execute. Okay, where it has, which is your, like, you can say main file, which is the landing file. Okay, so in the package.json file, it is written index.html file under which folder? Root folder, sir, under the public folder. So your app will be able to identify directly under the which folder? Public folder. Whichever the file we have created, execution of, like suppose you have the index.js file, you have app.js file. So this all the file are not executing under the SRC folder. This all the files are going to execute under the public folder. When? At runtime. Because of that, we are not mentioning any path anywhere. Else, that is also my question. HTML is under the public folder and index.js file under the SRC folder. How connectivity is happening, right? So under the package, I will guide you. The package.json file will be there. It will be written which is the root element. The root element will be mentioned as a public folder. So whichever the file we will create inside, whether you create a folder and inside the folder create the file, execution point will be the public folder only. Because of that, we don't need to mention any path here. Okay, clear?
Okay, okay. Thanks, Ray. I got it.
Yeah.
Sir, one question.
Tell me, sir.
Sir, in class component, we write both the render and return. But in function component, we write only return. So what is the difference?
Okay, still you have not seen the class component. How I will explain you. Once we see the class component, that time we will ask, in functional component you have written only render, in the class component you are writing this, how it works. Then it will be connecting point to explain you. Now that scenario still we have not seen. I have answer, but if I speak also, it will be useless. You will not understand because you have not seen the still code. Okay. Once we come to there, you can ask me, I'll guide you.
Okay,
Sir,
okay, sir.
please show that flowchart.
Sir, wait. Here, that report web vitals method is there, right? What is here? This 11, line number 11 method is there, right?
That is for the performance of your React project. When you are running the project in the React project, like there will be multiple component, multiple library. So the report web vital check the, you can say the performance of your React application. For that purpose, especially this library is used.
It means that we are calling a function name a report web vitals.
To measure the performance of your React project.
Okay.
You can say, if anyone asks why we call this function, see, we can say this function is going to take care of the performance point of our React project. Report web vital, you know, this one. If you cut the report, the web vitals, it is the tool of Google Webmaster. Okay, in the Google, when we promote the website in the Google search, there is a tool name. The tool name is called Web Vitals. Okay, what is that Web Vitals? Web Vitals used to check the measure of your, which one? Execution time of your project. That is especially for React. If you want, I'll show you here. Usually I check daily info campus performance. Let me show you. There Web Vital will come, you will understand. Okay, let me write here website speed test. Speed test. That is a tool. That tool name is, that tool come from the Google, and that tool is especially to check the performance of your project, how long it's taking the time, what are the library that is taking long time. Okay, and in that, which is the image file that is taking the long time, that measurement will happen through the report via vital package. It's a package name. Okay, let me open this website. I'll guide you. This is the Google tool only. Okay, so it's saying like, let me go here. https://infocampus.co.in. Okay, now I'll analyze here. So it will say how long it's taking time to load in the mobile phone, in the desktop, here and there. Plus at the same time, it will say report web vital fail. Okay, because if for this particular website, Google will have enough data, then they will compare with the previous record and current record. Previous it was loading in how long time, now it is loading in how long time, and then it'll give a report. Hold on, it's loading. Look here, look here. It says core web vital assessment as a failed. Now look down here. You can see it is showing the completely performance. In the mobile phone, what is the performance rating? 84. How long time it take to load, right? What are the pages? What are the green and what is that low? If I go to the desktop, in the desktop, it says like what is the condition? It's saying out of 197% is correct. And then this and all are taking this much of time to execute. So in the desktop, performance is very good, but in mobile phone, performance is little poor. 2-3 points are like, it should be 90 plus, it would be okay. It's 84. And you can see here at the same time what it says, core web vital assessments fail. That meaning for this particular website to the Google server, there is not much data, so that Google is saying, I don't have much record, so I cannot test the performance of your I cannot compare the performance of today, and I cannot compare the performance of past. Okay, so let's come here. So this line is for what purpose? It measures the performance of your React project. Okay, come now. Okay, so hope you are ready till here. And where we were under the photo? We were under the photo at this point. Okay, 1 minute रुके, हम अच्छे से खींचेंगे. Still not ready. It is not ready. Okay, so app.js is communicating to whom? Index. And index is communicating to whom? Index.html. Okay, let's look at here. Suppose in your project now you are going to create a user page, you are going to create a customer page, you are going to create a product page, you are going to create many more pages according to need, right? So we have option under the SRC folder, we can create a user folder, and inside the user we can create the multiple files. We can create a product folder, and inside we can create the multiple files. But those all are the next level. Let's see. We are going to create a folder. We are going to create a file here. We are going to create a file here that can be, let me write first name. Suppose there is a user.js file. Okay, suppose there is a, you can say as a item.js file. These all are the name of the component. Suppose you have home.js file. Suppose you have a login.js file. Login.js file, right? So how many components? Our definition says in a React, whichever the JavaScript file we are creating, call as a component. So we got total as a how many component? 4 component. Now this 4 component, suppose one component is here, one component is here, one more component is here, and one more component is here, and assume one more component you have here, right? So this all component, where it is going to communicate? Is it going to talk with the index directly, or is it going to talk to the app? Where it will be? So
App.js.
definitely the default structure will be remain same. We are going to modify this. We are going to say yes, login, home will talk to whom? App. Login will talk to whom? App. Item will talk to whom? App. And then user will talk to whom? App only. All are going to talk to whom? App. Now at a time, how many pages? 4 pages. When you open the Gmail, Gmail will display all the page at the same time. No, Gmail display only one page, inbox. That meaning user will come. Which page you want to create is a default page. We have to write the condition under the app.js file. When the user will click on item page should load. That condition will write where? Under the app.js file. User will click on login page to display. That condition will write under the app.js file. That is called routing. That is called a routing. So this is your internal structure of React. Right? Clear? So whichever the component we are going to create, all the component will be under the SRC folder, maybe within the folder or maybe without folder, and all the files will be communicating to whom? App.js file. And after that, still app.js file is not independent file. It is dependency of all your components. Next, in the backend, you have to write the API. And then you can say, this is the API line. Let me create here a line. This becomes an API line. There was supposed to be 10 more minutes to spend on this. This becomes an API. I can write here call it API. Now what will happen? Suppose your login authentication will happen through the backend. It's need API. Item will come from where? Backend. It need API. User registration will happen. It need API. Home data will come from where? Backend. It's need API. Correct. So at this place, what you can say, with the help of API, you can send the data also. And with the help of API, you can receive the data also. Sending and receiving both will happen through what? API. And all the data will land to where? Indirectly under the app.js. Now in the backend, you will have here called web service. You will have here called web service. Okay. This web service will have maybe SQL or maybe may not, based on database structure. And after that, what will happen? This SQL or without SQL, there is a database in the down. Let me write here. This is your database. This is your database. Now at this place, you will be writing as a web service. Here is your web service. Now web service is going to link with whom? This is nothing but indirectly as a this one only. Which one? As a web service. So under the backend, web service will be written, and web service will talk to the database. Database will take the data. Database will give the data, and through the API, your data will go to the component, and component will give to whom? App. And from app, it will come to index, and from index, it will go to the index.html, and from there, user will enjoy in the browser. Right? So this is the flow of your which one? Basic structure of your React project. Without Redux, this is without Redux. If Redux will come in this, then the structure will be different. All the component will not send the directly data to API. All the component will send the data to Redux. And Redux will deal with the API. So one more box will come in this. That I will guide you once I will start the Redux that time. But as of now, this is the basic structure. There, tomorrow class we will be creating the user, item, login, book. Here there are so many things, and we will be connecting with the home page, and we will implement the map method.
Sir,
Static page will create and will link and will see. Tell me, sir.
So what is synthetic event over here?
Which one?
Synthetic event.
What is?
synthetic events over here.
That I cannot guide you now. DFT. Take the photo and see you tomorrow. The remaining all question answer we'll have a discussion tomorrow. Hmm? Doing work on that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah. See you tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Synthetic events, everything is part of my syllabus. You have to attend the classes. Those all are in my syllabus. Okay, hope you taken the photo and see you tomorrow.